How's it going, YouTube? This is NWR James back with another video, and today I'm going to be giving you the video you guys have all been waiting for, the layout tour. So, without further ado, let's get started. Hold up a second. Right now, you see Thomas at Farquhar Station, and if you go down this way, you go to the main line where all these switches are, and this switch right here leads all the way around back to Thomas's branch line, and this up here, like this, is the main line, and it goes over Thomas's branch line. So if we continue going down the main line, we will see Spencer pulling a rather crappy special express coach, but we're gonna go up this hill, this orange bridge that I got like a little over a year ago. And we come down this way, and here we go to a curve where we see Oliver pulling a train, a goods train. And this is where we come into a next switch. Now this switch right here will just lead, like, it's the ending switch, like it'll lead back to this line in a minute. But this switch goes all the way back here. As you see, Diesel is on this line, and if you go back, we're gonna go all the way back to where the scrap yards are. Now, I don't have any scrap engines on here for a reason, because I'm always deciding, like, where should I put this? Should I put this scrap yard? Should I put this scrap yard, like, you know, on top of my TV stand? Should I leave it here? And I'm always, like, changing it and stuff, trying to get a good scrap yard. But not only that, it can also be used as a diesel works if I absolutely need to use it as a diesel works, but I don't think I'll absolutely need to. But yeah, that's the only switch that leads to the scrap yards. But we go back down to the main line, we get to another switch. This switch right here leads to, it's basically still the main line, only with 2 tracks now. Excuse me. And this is where we end up at the docks. There's Salty and Whiff working there, and you see Cranky loading up Salty's flatbed with pushing some trash trucks. Now, before we get back onto the main line, I'm going to go down this way. This switch leads to a different line. I wouldn't say main line, but... And now this switch right here, if you take this path all the way around that way, it'll lead you to the lumber mill. Well, not Henry's lumber mill, but it's where you get all the logs and stuff. And then if you go back down that way, you'll lead to Knapford Station, which we'll get to later in the video. And then if you go all the way down through this way, you will go up a little bridge, and crossing that bridge will take you over to this switch, which leads to Toby's little shed. And if you guys don't know, I created a custom shed for Toby because Toby doesn't belong in Timid Sheds. He needs his own shed, but there's no like sheds for Toby, so I just made one myself. But yeah, that's the only switch that leads to Toby's shed. And then if you go down this way, this is where Percy and Hero are. They're both at Maithwaite Station. Percy and Hero both at Maithwaite. And then this switch ends right here, this switch, and it's back to just one line. And where we're at Farmer McCall's, we are at Farmer McCall's, where Toby is dropping off some chickens, cows, picking them up, whatever you want to do. And then you end right back up where Oliver was, the switch Oliver's at. So, go all the way back around, we're over here, now we're back on the main line, where we go to the quarry. The quarry is where Bill, Ben, Mavis, and Boko are all working on my layout. Now, if you take, there's a switch underneath this tunnel. If you take this switch all the way down that way, you will lead back up to Knapford Station, which I'll get to later. But if you take these 2 main lines right here, you take these 2, the main line, it'll eventually lead the quarry, and then it will go up Gordon's Hill, or any other big hill, but I just prefer it bigger, like Gordon's Hill, because it's the biggest hill on the island. But as you see here on Gordon's Hill, Billy has had an accident, and Arthur's using the breakdown train to pick him up. How nice of you, Arthur. And then we go all the way around all the way around, back down Gordon's Hill, and we end up at this part where Donald and Douglas are. Donald pouring soda fuel, Douglas pouring milk tankers. How lovely. Well, not lovely, but still brotherly love, you know, pouring tankers of some sort at the same time, yeah. Now, this part of the main line can lead over here, and then this other part just leads back all the way to Henry's Tunnel, which we'll get to in a minute. But if you go down this way, you get to this switch right here. This switch can lead up to the sheds where Duck, Emily, and Edward are. But the other switch takes you to Knapford Station, where a bunch of engines and other characters are. I decided to put Harold's shed here because, focus up. Harold's shed is here because it's just one place on the layout that has a lot of space. I'm like, you know what, it's okay. It can be next to Knapford Station, so it is. And then we got James, Stanley, and Gordon all pulling their own separate trains. And that's, for those of you who don't know, this is Lincoln Logs. Lincoln Logs are just a brand where you can just build stuff, and I just decided to build a house, like a building next to Knapford Station, because it only makes sense. And then these two lines, you already know where they go. But if we go back down, we're on the main line again. We go up to Henry's Tunnel, we go through Henry's Tunnel, and then once we get through Henry's Tunnel, hold up. Sorry. Yeah, you see my shadow, but get through Henry's Tunnel, and there's Henry pulling a lumber train, and we get over here. Now, this part of the main line has two switches. This switch, where Henry's sitting on top right now, leads to a set of buffers that I like to use as magic buffers. This switch right here leads all the way up to the mainland tunnel, but it doesn't have to be specifically for the mainland. It can be for whatever, but I like to use it as mainland if you see my Soda Race videos. And then it just leads back down to the pair of switches that lead all the way up to Thomas's branch line and stuff. But, yeah, people have they've requested my layout tour. And they're like, hey, yo, NWR James, make your layout tour, please. I want to see it. I'm like, yeah, I've been trying to make this video for a while now, but here it is. It's finally done. And, yeah, sorry you can hear trash there, but this is my layout. I hope you all enjoy it, because it's the best layout I have ever made. And this is NWR James signing out.